Alright, so there should be a natural question that comes from me showing you this, that something divided by itself is that thing to the 0 power, which is 1, and this is evidence that 0 to the 0 is 1. There should be a natural question that arises here. What about 0 to the 0? Because, as I've said before, or 0 on 0 is not the same thing as 0 to the 0. Right? These are not identical to each other. How can this be if I'm making this claim? Well, what's happening here? Very different operations from what's happening down there. Okay, why? Here, we are taking something and raising it to the 0 power. When you take something and raise it to the 0 power, you just kick off the process of exponentiation. You go to the initial step of taking exponents, which is you get to 1. You get to the value 1, but we don't go any further. So it does not matter what the base is. So this is going to be 1. Okay. This dude, if their conditions are just right, then that's what happens. But usually, this is actually a slope. This is not really a number. It's not even an attempt at a number, right? So you might recall I showed something like this in a previous video. And I said it's stupid to try to do not calculate this. What you need to do is you need to realize that this is a change in vertical divided by a change in horizontal. It's a slope, which is what tangent is. Right? When you take the tangent of an angle, you're getting the slope of the angle. So here I'm trying to find the angle whose slope is this. I'm trying to treat it as a number, or it doesn't work. It's a vector. Really, it's this. It's 0 plus 2i. It's really the same thing. Right? This is really what's going on here. This should be, if you're going to try to treat it as any kind of thing that we conventionally call a number, you should be treating it as a complex number, really. But we don't. And so that's kind of what's happening here. Your top and your bottom, usually when you encounter this, they're different units. So it's not actually the same thing divided by itself. We just obfuscate away what the units are, and we're like, oh, well, it's 0 on 0. But it isn't. It's probably, in whatever your reference frame is, it's a vertical vector, and you can't assess that because of the way functions work, right? So this could be anything. Where this is 1, this can be, but it could also be anything else. It could be 7, it could be 400, it could be infinity, negative infinity, all at once, all of those, none of those, right? It could just be a hole in your graph. It could be literally anything, including nothing. This is fundamentally different than this for reasons that you're kind of lied about in as a little kid, that fractions are not actually numbers. They're vectors. So, just as this and this are not commensurate. Units, they're perpendicular to each other. These zeros are probably also perpendicular to each other, right? This is probably a situation where, you've got 0 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis. It looks like 1 point, but it really it's the combination of two. There's a dy of 0 and a dx of 0, and those are different from each other. So when you try to divide these and come out with a value, it's gonna give you garbage. You can't evaluate it. Whereas this one you can evaluate it because of how exponents work. Sometimes this can work like this. But usually when you encounter it, it's not gonna work like that. So that's why these are different. Because you've kind of been told a lie about how fractions work,